Wow, I am speechless. I mean, what I just witnessed might have been the greatest performance I've ever seen with my own two eyes. Let's break down a historic night out of Joel Embiid.
Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Philly Take with RB. You know the deal, Sixer Nation. Hit the like button, subscribe to the show. Be sure to hit the bell so you don't miss any of the content. The game just got done about an hour ago, and I'm still here just sitting in shock. I'm speechless out of what I just witnessed. That was an unbelievable, historic, legendary, iconic, whatever you want to call it, performance out of Joel Embiid. He wills the Sixers to a win, their second straight. They take down the Jazz 105-98 at home, and this was a huge win for this team going forward. But tonight is all about Joel Embiid. We need to individually recognize what just happened and kind of put it into perspective the best way that we can. This is one of those games where, you know, you just are appreciative of basketball, of greatness, of certain players, especially guys that are on your team. Because even though you have stars on your teams, you know, you never know how long they're going to be on your team. You never know if they're going to be healthy all the time. You don't know, what the window is. But right now, even with the midst of everything going on with this team, the fact that we rebounded and we got to see that incredible performance out of Joel Embiid, it is just something special. So before we start rallying off insane statistics and records and all this stuff to try to put this into perspective, shout out to our sponsor of today's show, Let's Get Checked. Let's Get Checked is your leading provider for at-home testing kits. They make professional health testing much easier by allowing you to get tested without having to visit a healthcare provider. With LGC, you order one of these test kits from their website. They send it right to your front doorstep in discreet packaging. And once you complete that test and send it back in, your confidential results are available within 2 to 5 days, either on their website or through their app, all in real time. You can even schedule a meeting to meet with someone from the LGC team to go over your results. One of the clinicians will break it all down for you. The results are sent to their labs, which are CLIA approved and CAP accredited, which are the highest ranking levels of accreditation. I mean, it's so much easier. It's expedited in terms of the process. You don't have to sit in the doctor's office and actually go out and, make a scheduled meeting and wait in the office and all that stuff and go through the insurance. No copays, none of that. It is a much more streamlined process. LGC is 10 steps ahead of the game. And honestly, maybe for a female, you want a fertility test, PCOS test for a guy. You want a colon screening, hormone test, diabetes test. Doesn't matter what it is. Any type of test, they have you covered. Go ahead and check out their website and get tested without even leaving your house. Comes right to your front doorstep. So click that link down in the description. Go check out everything they have and use promo code Philly25 upon ordering a test for 25% off. Speaking of Let's Get Checked, I think I'm going to have to get checked at this point, because do I even have a heartbeat after what just happened? Okay, let's just try to put this into perspective. Here's the stat line from Joel Embiid tonight. 59 points, 19 for 28 from the field, 20 for 24 from the free throw line, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, and 7 blocks. All right, as I'm just sitting here in joy, scrolling through Twitter, trying to really understand this better, the one thing I saw that has me just kind of like in a trance, all right, I'm sitting there and someone says, Joel Embiid was 2 assists and 3 blocks away from a 59-point quadruple double. We are talking in the modern era, ladies and gentlemen. People are talking about this, and that. They're talking about Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt is one of the greatest, maybe if not the greatest talent ever, all right? And he was a woolly mammoth in his era. Like, he just didn't even fit. Sometimes we think the same about Joel Embiid, but maybe Joel is kind of revolutionizing the game. Here's the difference, ladies and gentlemen. Wilt Chamberlain did that in an era that was dominated by big men. I'm talking about guys that couldn't even shoot beyond 25 feet from the basket. What Joel Embiid just did tonight was historical, and he did it in the modern day, in the modern era, surrounded by a ton of guards and wings. This is a guards league. Joel Embiid's out here playing like a guard. The difference is he's 7'1", he's 285 pounds. It doesn't make sense. It shouldn't make sense. And that's what makes it even more astonishing. What he just did and went out there. It's like every possession. I'm trying to remember right now in my head every possession in the fourth quarter. I can only think of maybe one other possession where they were trying to run the play through someone else. Everybody in the building knew what it was. And honestly, Joel Embiid was out of energy. Did I even mention that this was on the second of a back-to-back where Joel Embiid had to give it every ounce he had last night to put up 42 points to beat the Hawks? And he played 40 minutes last night. He ended up playing, 37, 38 minutes tonight, 39, whatever it was. He played 40 last night. He said last night in the press conference, one, he can barely even lift his arms up sometimes because he's hurting. And two, he didn't even know if he was going to play today. Could you imagine if he didn't play today? He had to give it everything he had, and Joel Embiid scores 101 points this weekend in the last 2 days. It is unreal to will this team to 2 wins. I mean, honestly, he was gassed in the fourth quarter, but it was the adrenaline. It was the adrenaline. Everybody in the building knew it. The teammates, the fans, everybody's on their feet. Every possession, I'm trying to think, was running through Joel Embiid. And he couldn't be stopped. And you know what's crazy is that some of the things he was doing, I still didn't like from a basketball perspective. Catching the ball real high, taking a lot of dribbles, wasting out the shot clock a lot. But the difference tonight is when your shot's falling, I don't care what you're doing. He just could not be stopped. The Jazz thought it was a good idea to put Kelly Olynyk on Joel Embiid. Then they start doubling, they start tripling. In fact, 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, they had to start fouling him early in the shot clock because they couldn't even stop him. Unbelievable. Joel Embiid had 26 points, 5 blocks, and went 12 for 15 from the line in the fourth quarter. Some guys can't do this in a single game. I mean, the Sixers had 27 points as a team in the fourth quarter. Joel Embiid had 26. He had 26. Joel Embiid this game had 57% of the points scored for the Sixers, and he had 8 assists, so he probably accounted for like 60 to 70% of the entire offense. I mean, you just don't see this. This is not normal. And what he was able to do, and those blocks, man, there was a point in this game where I knew he was possessed. There was multiple points, but my favorite play from this game, or one of them, was, he goes and with a couple minutes left, he has a big block on Larry Markin and somehow finds his way back. And Joel Embiid has been criticized the last couple games for playing lackadaisical defense. He doesn't look in shape, and he's kind of just been sagging back. But he has a monster block on Larry Markin. And this was a close game. This was a neck-and-neck game all the way down. It was back and forth. Jazz were up 14 early. The Sixers come back because of Joel Embiid in the second quarter, and they retake the lead. It's going back and forth. But then with about, I think, a minute or two left, Colin Sexton has a free lane to the basket, and Joel Embiid's the only defender in sight. And for some reason, you ever just know something's going to happen? I was calling this game in real time. We live stream every game, so just to be able to call this piece of greatness, it's an honor. It really is. But to see Joel Embiid right there going up against Colin Sexton, who had been getting a couple free layups at the hoop, I just knew Joel Embiid was going to block it. I knew he was going to block it, and he just gets up and pats that thing full effect off the backboard, and I was like, yeah, he's possessed. There's nothing he cannot do tonight. And the Sixers hold on, and Embiid goes shot for shot. He's dominating down low, and every bucket, whether it's a turnaround, whether it's a fade, whether he's coming off a screen. I mean, at one point in this game, and they asked Tyrese Maxey after the game, I was just watching the post-game interviews, even though it's late, it's like, Tyrese Maxey literally said at one point, Doc's trying to run a pick and roll with Maxey and Embiid, and Maxey said, no, I'm just giving the ball to Embiid. We're just going to go every possession through this guy because he is so great right now. It's actually unbelievable. How about this for you? The process in full effect in Philly tonight as Joel dropped 59 points. Embiid became the first player with 50 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 blocks in a game since blocks became official in 1973. In fact, he didn't just have that stat line. He had 7 blocks. He had 5 in the fourth quarter. He had 11 rebounds. He had 8 assists. This is nuts. And he was 1 point off of 60. He tries to hit a little turnaround fade with 2 men on him. I actually thought he was going to hit it because of how great he was. Everybody in the building probably thought he was going to hit it. And then, they ended up having to foul him because they didn't want him to get 60. And he goes to the line 58-59. If he hit one of those other free throws, man, he would have had 60, but doesn't even matter. What a massive performance How about this? The last Sixers player other than Joel to make a shot was Shake Milton with 27 seconds left in the third quarter, which Embiid assisted on the bucket. And this was at one point in the game. But again, Embiid scored on 26 of the 27 fourth quarter points. And the only other point accounted for was Daniel House hitting a free throw with 6:50 to go. By the way, Doc Rivers pulled Joel Embiid for 57 seconds in this fourth quarter. So he only played 11 minutes in the fourth quarter, and he had 26 points, and he had 5 blocks. And as soon as he pulled Joel Embiid, for some reason, we bring in a small ball lineup, and the Utah Jazz go and score a couple quick buckets and take the lead. And then we're like, all right, we got to get him back in. And like no rest at all, barely any rest. He just comes right back in and continues to dominate. That is how you know he had it. Here's my favorite part of the performance, though, because we had talked about Joel Embiid. A lot of people haven't really enjoyed, his comments recently and how we're trying to start getting going. And the last 3 games, I mean, let's be honest, the MVP is back. After these last 3 games, the performances he's had. But this is what he says: all the credit goes to my teammates. Now, let's be honest. No, it doesn't. The credit goes to you. You saved this team the last couple nights. But that is what leaders do. And we had talked the other night about how he was talking about Doc Rivers, yet he wasn't hustling back and all this and that. We all love Joel. We know his capabilities. Yes, he needs to get in full condition, and he's working on it slowly. I don't know what's been going on with him. He's banged up every which way. But that is what leaders do. All the credit goes to my teammates, even though we know it was courtesy of you, Joel Embiid. So that's what I love to see. And he just seems happy. He's in a good place. But we need to consistently see it. I'm not going to poo-poo this night at all. If I want to be honest, though, the fact that we were even this close near the end of the game is sad with the stat line that you put up. Like looking at this right here, like this should not be the case. We should have blew this team out. And this was a red-hot Jazz team, right? I mean, they weren't supposed to be like this. They're a pretty good team. The way they're moving the ball, playing defense, they just couldn't stop Joel. I mean, they held Tobias, they held Maxey, everybody else was in check. But Joel Embiid came through and saved the day again. More insane stats here. 55-point games in Sixers history. Wilt, AI, and now Joel Embiid. He was actually very close to AI's game in 2005. Joel Embiid now 5th all-time on the Sixers scoring list for an individual game. Wilt has the top 3. AI with 60 and Embiid with 59. 5th most points in a game in Sixers history. Others took to Twitter to react. I mean, guys couldn't even believe what was going on here. Again, this is a center in the modern day putting up these numbers. John Morant, 57 out of 103 is Crayo. Then you got Trae Young says Joel went nuts. OMG. And how about his teammate Matisse Thybulle? Quote, it's absurd. My friends were texting me after the game. It's a 2K stat line. It's not one of those things you see in a real basketball game. It's like when you pick one player on 2K and just do everything. When you just go insane, put all the sliders down, put it on rookie, and just go nuts. It's pretty ridiculous. And not only did Joel Embiid score 59 and go off in the fourth, he's out here chirping at Lowry with a couple minutes to go and getting free Chick-fil-A for everybody. You know Joel loves that, but man, what a night. Embiid was joking around after the game with his exchange with Larry Markkinen that's kind of going viral now. He says what he told him was, quote, I got to put Arthur, his son, to sleep, so you better miss those free throws. Says he has a strict 7:30 bedtime. He was just joking. Here's what actually happened. Shout out to Crossing Broad. Joel Embiid didn't just have 59. He also chirped Lowry into missing 2 free throws. So Sixers fans won free Chick-fil-A. He was talking to him, chirping him up. And, I mean, those were 2 pretty bad free throws from Larry Markkinen. At the end of the day, we just need to sit back. It's a long season. The Sixers, now get back up to 500. That's my best takeaway. I mean, the Sixers are now 2-0 on this homestand. And like I said, these are big games. It's going to really show us who this team is. That's what I've been preaching, man, reiterating for days now. And you beat the Hawks, you beat the Jazz. Now you have 4 days off needed to be said. I mean, Joel Embiid's going to need 4 days off after these 2 performances. And then the Milwaukee Bucks come into town. And then the Timberwolves come into town. Then the Nets come into town. So if the Sixers can find a way to win now 2 of these next 3, or maybe even all 3, this team is right back on track. And this is the type of performance that can really galvanize the troops and bring the squad together and just kind of make you feel better about the team and what's been a tough stretch to start the season. And it's absolutely heroic what Joel Embiid has done. But that's just what we expect out of an MVP-like player. Hopefully his teammates can help him out so he doesn't have to do this every night. But man, was it special. You just have to take a step back tonight and just appreciate greatness and appreciate what you just saw, because it's not every day that you get to see something like that. What a night. What a night. And man, it's just been a journey to watch Joel, and games like this just remind you, man, like why you got to really, appreciate what you have. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hit the like, comment, subscribe, drop your favorite moment from tonight down in the chat. And as always, we will continue to cover, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.